Hi, good morning everyone. We are day 2 at Mining Indaba here in Cape Town. We have a very exciting day planned, starting off with talking to some junior miners. So follow along.
So it's a great morning start to the second day of Mining Indaba, and it's amazing to see how Africa can unlock the potential for communities and be a critical role for the just transition in Africa in critical minerals.
Day 1 of Mining Indaba was very exciting, but also a little bit controversial in my opinion. The Minister of Mines, who was here representing the current president of South Africa, mentioned how illegal mining is still a problem in South Africa, which is quite interesting for me as a Kenyan, where artisanal and small-scale mining has been considered legal since 2016. And although it has not yet been formalized into law, miners operate legitimately under the OECD guidance for responsible mining. And so South Africa has a huge opportunity to support the formalization and the recognition of artisanal and small-scale miners. It's specifically gold miners in the country who can ultimately contribute a lot more into the local economy in their mining communities. Yeah.
The greatest way for African mining companies to contribute to community success is to build and engage from an early stage, from exploration to closure, and build a great legacy with communities. So a way for companies to contribute and engage with communities is to build their closure plan not as a separate plan, but to integrate it into their long-term sustainability and business strategy.
One of the key takeaways was that mining is here to stay, and there is nothing that we can change about that. It is the blunt truth, and we have to work to ensure that the sector is in a good state to enable us increase the economic development of our communities, because it's not about them and us, it's about us, all of us in the mining sector. So we have to find ways to incorporate the mining communities and ensure that they are involved in every step of the mining value chain.
I enjoyed the panel with my colleague David Sturmes from the Impact Facility for Sustainable Mining Communities. David convened a panel of experts and practitioners in artisanal mining, and the question being explored there was what needs to change to harness the full potential of artisanal and small-scale mining. And of course the background to that is that historically artisanal mining has been treated as a bit of an outlaw in the mining industry. But now, as some of the prices of commodities rise, such as gold, artisanal mining is becoming a key part, especially in Africa, where several million workers and their dependents rely on small-scale mining. So on the stage there, we had folk from the World Bank, but we also had miners themselves, small-scale miners supported by the Impact Facility, where the Impact Facility is investing in their businesses, so treating them as small businesses, which indeed they are. Overall, there's been a big change, I think, over the last few years, as was evidenced in this panel, that the sentiment towards small-scale mining is generally positive and pragmatic in how can we actually find solutions to bring them into the formal economy. Lawrence, who is the manager and owner of the Multiflow small-scale mine in Kenya, which is supported by the Impact Facility, ended with some insightful comment and said, yes, we need capacity building, but we need capacity building of the right people. If you have a football team, you want to be able to support the players, not just the observers.
So personally, I'm impressed by the organization of this event and the opportunities it offers. While I was coming here, I was actually interested in finding networks, people who can offer solutions within our mining sector through equipment solutions, innovative solutions, new technology, and more so the discussion around the mining at artisanal and small-scale level. which I've really found interesting because things have changed. Everybody else is talking about collaboration, which for us means a lot because that's where the disconnect is when it comes to mining at the lowest level. So at the small scale, at artisanal level, collaboration is key. And that's what really makes, for us, future-proofing a reality.
So Indaba, for an investor in the mining space, is an opportunity to connect with people both at the conference and throughout Cape Town, which is an amazing city. And it facilitates so many people traveling from all over the world to have that conversation around Africa and African mining. And that for me is the main reason why a lot of people come down here, myself included.
I'd honestly recommend for young people like myself to attend the Indaba because it is an eye-opener where you get to know both challenges and opportunities that are in the mining sector. And I'd say the Community Voices has done a very good initiative for bringing together people from diverse backgrounds, from academia, like the young ones like myself, and every other professionals who works in the ASM, to enable them come and participate in the discussions of whatever is going on in the mining industry.
My name is Omaojor Ogedoh from Nigeria. My first time in Indaba, and something that is very worrisome for me was the fact that all stakeholders from around the world come together to see how we can move the sector in Africa forward. But however, the movement have been very slow. If critical stakeholders around the world come together like this, I expected a very fast movement of the sector. However, we are not where we were. That means we're making progress. Someday we'll get it right, I believe.
I was invited by the Impact Facility. I entered a competition about community voices where I had to do a video speaking on future-proofing mining, which is actually the theme of Mining Indaba this year. And for me, future-proofing mining would be more on speaking to the youth so they can continue on the legacy and the lifespan of mining and bring it on unto their youth as soon as they're all grown. And I sort of hit the floor running because it was my first time attending such a huge event. But so far it's been quite insightful because when you read about it on newsletters, it's not as broad as hearing other people's insights and their views on everything mining. So it's been quite a journey and I still look forward to the next 2 days of it.
My organization is Faded Lake Innovations. We deal with social entrepreneurship development in mining communities. And for us to be here today is that we entered a competition and we won the video competition for us to be here. It's an overwhelming experience for the organization. I think it's going to take us very far. And I think that the input that we made in the panels that we've been in, it has made a major impact because from that panel, I managed to meet a couple of people and even people from the Mining Council are wanting to meet with us to say, how are we doing it in those communities? They want us to come and assist them to see how better we can expand the change that we are making.
This is the end of the second day of the Mining Indaba here in Cape Town, Mining Indaba 2025. So some of the conversations we've had today, we started with a TDI sustainability breakfast where we met with junior mining companies and we learned a little bit about their struggles and aspirations, their good news and their bad news. I think the overall message there is that we're living in a world of predicted low prices for many of these commodities, but there's optimism as well about the kind of specialism. The dominance of China in the downstream is playing out strongly. But overall, again, optimism about critical minerals being a part of the African economy going forward and how these junior miners can continue to explore for these minerals and take advantage of the interest in those in Europe and North America and in Africa itself. Another panel I attended was on corruption in mining, and the question there was, why is it so hard to talk about, implying that corruption happens very often but is seldom reported. And there we had representatives from the OECD, but also from the UK National Crime Agency, which is an interesting agency in the UK because it has global jurisdiction. I think the only country other than the US which can take its investigations overseas. And there was a few case studies brought to light on the actions that companies can take once they discover that there is in fact corruption or potential corruption in their supply chains, and talked about the UK listed company Gemfields working in Madagascar, who not only identified potential corruption in a transaction they had with the government and stopped it, but also took the initiative to report it. So yes, the message here was that companies do have some instruments that they can use. There are these agencies that operate internationally, and they should do more than just avoid it, but also actually report it so that we can stem this poisonous action within the mineral and mining supply chain. So that's the summary, I think, of some of the highlights of today here at the Mining Indaba for Tuesday.